All right, we talk a lot about franchising in terms of like pros and everything that's rainbows and butterflies, but what are the big mistakes people make? Like, I think we each choose one, and tell me the big mistakes you think people make when buying a franchise.
Yeah, well, it's easy for me. So, because when I first bought my first franchise, I made all the mistakes. That's why I love helping clients, is help them overcome what I went through. And I think the biggest one for me was unrealistic expectations, right? You look at item 19s and all that kind of stuff. That's to level set your expectations. It's not a guaranteed check or any of that kind of stuff. So you gotta know how much time you're spending, what you're good at, what you're actually gonna be able to do, what's a realistic, right? I was 21 when I first got the first one open. I thought I was gonna retire by the time I was 23. I was gonna have a yacht, right? All that kind of stuff.
I thought you were gonna have a yacht, really?
Yeah.
Man, your expectations were way off. Just
Not a
like
big swimmer, but I like being in a boat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was expectations of going, what's it truly gonna be like? And it is all the rewards that you see from people, but sometimes you don't see the effort that went in to get there and the time to get there.
Yep. Expectations, that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Mine would be, what I see people do not do is they get into the process. They get really excited about a brand, get into the process. It's knowing your market, competitive analysis.
Oh, right.
Right? Like, I see people just skimp out on this. And I'll tell you, this is a thing that the franchisor won't tell you, or anybody else, is they don't want you to really look at it, because they don't want to answer those questions. Like, if you're selling or looking at a franchise, you're at confirmation day, you bring up the competitor, yeah, they're probably gonna have, oh, we're better because of this, this, this. But they're obviously gonna say that. Like, have you done your due diligence? So here's what I would do. I would, if you're looking, let's say at a franchise in Salt Lake City, Utah, right? Pick up the phone, go to Google, and actually find every competitor. Look at the reviews. I typically would like to see multiple brands that have like low or moderate reviews, because that means there's not one big player. Go check them out, then pick the top 5 and call them, go through the customer experience, have them do the service if you can, go to their location, and document the entire thing. Like, what are the pros, cons, what are they doing really well, what are they not doing? Know your competition inside and out, because you're gonna know them for the next 10 years, intricately. Like, if you don't know them prior to buying the franchise, you're in trouble. So learn everything about them. Go to the social media, go look at the pictures that they're doing, go look at their work, go look at the locations, ask those customers, what was your experience? Like, don't even just go to Google, but like, go knock doors. I don't care. Like, I'm gonna know everything there is to know about my competition. And if it's a brick and mortar, I'm gonna go there over and over and over again. I'm gonna know them so well that I can just poke holes over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And kind of piggyback a little bit on that is also in the same brand, if you're splitting a market with another franchisee of the brand that you're looking at, do theirs too, because you're going to inherit that reputation.
Yeah, great
If
point.
that brand is phenomenal, but that local franchisee is struggling, has a ton of bad reviews, has kind of muddied the waters in that market, you're going to inherit that reputation, so add them on that list.
I'll throw it on there too, another thing, like, find old employees of them. Like, if you have a significant player in the market and you're worried about them, go find their old employees. Do a little research on LinkedIn or something, and contact them. Be like, hey, what was it like working there? What was the problem? Like, I don't know. I mean, that's why not? Just ask them questions.
Worst case scenario, nobody answers.
Yeah.
Well, they say 2020 survey, I think Crayon had a survey in 2020 and talking about the competitive environment, and said on average you have 29 competitors in your market. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? But there's a lot of content and research to do on all of those, because you probably have a lot of mom and pop shops, and then you have the similar franchise companies.
People skimp on that 100%. They'll do they'll get lazy with it. Like, they'll do a couple things. They'll look at Google. Like, they won't do the hard work with it. Do the hard work. Talk to people.
Yeah.
Don't just go to Google that are fake reviews typically anyway.
I'd rather find out before I write the check.
Yeah, speaking of being lazy, validation. We talk a lot about validation as part of the process that we get our clients into. And validation isn't learning, it's validating the things that you've already learned from the franchisor. And of course, it's going to be rainbows and puppy dogs, because they have the best brand. Every brand is the best brand. But validating that, going above and beyond to dive into the numbers that they provide you, doing your competitive intel, setting the right expectations with what the guys are doing or what the franchisees are doing in year 1, year 2, year 3. You can't always look at what happens 5 or 6 years down the road? What does that scaling process look like? So spending a lot of time talking to current franchisees, talking to the founder, validating what you're hearing, but then to your point, doing your own research as well.
Yep. So top 3, what was your 1?
Expectations.
Competitive analysis. Don't get lazy.
Validation.